Hello everybody, today is Friday, July 27th. It's time for the weekly Bitcoin Cash News Roundup, brought to you by Bitcoin.com as always. I'm Roger Veer, and today we have another longtime Bitcoin friend and special guest, Daniel Kelman. One of the things that between us he's the most well known for is they accused him of being one of my stock puppets on the internet once. They claimed that his account was mine on Reddit. So remember that?
Easily disproved.
Easily disproved. Here he is. So lots and lots of fun things to go up with on the news here today. One of the more exciting technical ones is that Bitcoin Unlimited has merged the Graphene block propagation technology, which for those of you that are really interested in bigger blocks like Satoshi described originally, it makes it even easier to propagate these blocks. Once a new block is found, instead of sending the entire block, you only have to send a much smaller amount of data. So it allows blocks to propagate across the Great Firewall of China much faster and everywhere else as well. So it is an example of not only the hardware getting better, but the software getting better year after year. And I should give a shout out to the developers that were working on that with Bitcoin Unlimited. We're Umass, Brian Levine, Pinar Ozisik, George Bissias, and I apologize for butchering your guys' names, but Amir Houmansadr, and of course Gavin Andresen, one of the oldest people involved in terms of links of involvement in Bitcoin ever, and special thanks to Gavin for being a fantastic guy this whole time. So I lost track of how many developers that is. So when you hear all these Bitcoin core trolls on the internet saying, Bcash only has one developer, no, there's like multiple development teams with multiple members of each team. So it's just another example of the lies coming out from those guys. So you want to talk about what's next on the list? Do you have it open, or if you don't,
I have it open.
Yeah. Skrill.
Skrill adds support for Bitcoin Cash, available on Google Play and the App Store. Skrill lets you send money through their simple UI payment service at Skrill.com.
So that's another example of Bitcoin Cash just being added to more and more platforms around the world, and lots of stuff happening, right?
Easier and easier to use, and more places adding acceptance.
Yeah. So we're recording this from Cyprus today, which is a beautiful island in the Mediterranean. It's part of the EU. Lots of exciting stuff has been happening here with Bitcoin Cash in Cyprus. How much of that are we allowed to talk about on the news here?
Let's talk about it. Why not?
You're a lawyer, so for those of you guys that don't know, Daniel's a licensed attorney in New York
and
Taiwan.
Foreign registered lawyer in Taiwan.
And Hong Kong as of next week or something?
Yeah, officially on the 18th in Hong Kong.
So in a two more weeks there. So
ask
a lawyer, what are we allowed to say is going on here in Cyprus?
We talked to some payment processors who were doing like kind of Venmo type payments in Cyprus and the EU and setting up like point of sale machines, and we talked to them about integrating Bitcoin Cash.
And they have over 80% market share of the point of sale systems here in Cyprus, so that's a really big deal.
Yeah, and their point of sale systems will be everywhere. So if we integrate Bitcoin Cash, Cyprus could become Bitcoin Cash Island.
Yeah, it's a big island, big and beautiful. It's my first time here. It's great.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. Any other exciting things you want to talk about? Or the rest need to stay quiet?
We met with a lot of government officials in Cyprus, including the president, to talk about officially blockchain, but about many other things as well. And Cyprus is taking legislation very seriously.
I set up multiple people at the presidential office building or whatever it's called with Bitcoin Cash wallets, of course. So.
We tried to set the president up with a wallet, but we set up his like chief of staff with a wallet. He was kind of busy and not exactly a tech guy, but very much interested in the power that blockchain has to bring to Cyprus, and we're happy to be here to advise them on it.
Yeah, sure are. So let's talk about on another route. So apparently there's arguing happening on the internet. Surprise, surprise. How did that make the news? So people are arguing about Bitcoin.org and the guy that runs that, which is some guy going by the name of Cobra Bitcoin. And apparently he's not being rude enough to people that actually support the vision of Bitcoin laid out by Satoshi Nakamoto and the version of Bitcoin that made Bitcoin successful in the first place, as described in the white paper. So it's because he's not being rude enough to those people. People like Adam Back and others are very upset with him and are trying to get him to turn over the domain name to them. So there's a bit of a troll fest online with some insults going back and forth that were pretty funny. You can go and read all about it on our BTC, because our Bitcoin is completely censored, like we say week after week. So you've been aware of the censorship for a while, right?
Yeah. I just it made me stop using Reddit as much as I used to. And, I hope that he doesn't give in to the pressure and and holds on to Bitcoin.org and uses it for promoting lots of different ideas.
Yeah, which brings us to the next thing on our list here, and it's a question. It says, "Is Blockstream working with former NSA spies?" And the title here of a news article that was put out, it says that Samson Mao's handler seems to have a curious background. So basically the guy got caught red-handed working. And so his Twitter account says that he's a cypherpunk. So okay, like I'm a big fan of cypherpunks. Like I've been interested in that sort of stuff for decades. Yet this guy previously was also working as the campaign manager for a Democratic candidate out of Alaska. Like I don't know how many cypherpunks are campaign managers for Democrats in the United States. That sounds awfully, awfully, awfully suspicious.
Didn't he get caught like rigging an election or something? Setting up fake websites?
Yeah, so he got caught setting up fake websites with fake news and fake lies about the opponent.
What a noob mistake. For someone who's a cypherpunk.
Not only a noob mistake, but something that's like totally immoral and you shouldn't do. You shouldn't like make fake websites telling fake things or lies about other people on the internet, which I've been a victim of that as well in this propaganda war being put on by Bitcoin Core against people that actually think that Bitcoin should be usable as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system as described in the very title of the white paper.
It's a suspiciously familiar tactic we've seen, much like accusing someone of being a sock puppet when they're not one.
Yeah. So, and I met this guy in Korea at Economy. For those of you that haven't watched the video where I got to have a debate with Samson Mao and myself, this guy was there with Samson at the whole conference, right there with him. And I actually had like a pre-conference or pre-debate meeting with this handler of Samson's and Samson. And this handler was begging me, like, please, let's agree to just be called BTC Bitcoin, not Bitcoin Core. And we'll call Bitcoin Cash, and we won't call it Bcash. And I said, no. I think there's two versions of Bitcoin. The one single Bitcoin split into Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin Cash, and like we'll just call it like that. And then sure enough, we agreed to that, all of us in the room. And sure enough, when we were on stage, Samson, didn't abide by his agreement that he had maybe 20 minutes earlier with me in the room. And that guy just gave a really weird vibe the whole time. So Bill Scannell, I think was his name. I don't have it open on my list here, but he was strange. I don't know. Who are you, Bill? So what type of cypherpunk managers, are campaign managers for Democrat candidates for Congress? That seems really, really, really strange to me. So next fun list, fun thing on our list. Go for it.
Next on the list, Rory MacDonald still promoting Bitcoin Cash with a new T-shirt design.
For those that don't know, who's Rory MacDonald?
He's a UFC.
He's fought in the UFC a bunch. And he's currently the Bellator light heavyweight champion or middle. I forget exactly what weight class, but a real badass. And he's been tweeting positive things about Bitcoin Cash for a long time. He was on the Ariel Helwani show recently, and he said that in his book, Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin, and he's right about that, by the way. Go and read the white paper if you're not sure. And really nice to see that he's aware of like the crazy propaganda and censorship that's been happening within the Bitcoin community, which is really sad to see happen. But people are seeing through it. People are we're exposing the lies and showing people the truth about what happened in the Bitcoin ecosystem. So, and let's back up a little bit though too. That guy Bill Scannell, I don't know for sure who he is or what he's about, but like remember, the CIA was interested in Bitcoin way back in like 2010 or 2011. They invited Gavin Andresen to go and explain it to them. And if you go and read their handbook, their exact thing that they try and do is they try and get leadership positions within communities and then use those leadership positions to create infighting within the community and cause everybody to fight. And that's exactly what we've seen happen within Bitcoin. So like we had our Bitcoin get taken over by these people that then engaged this giant, massive censorship campaign that shattered the one singular Bitcoin ecosystem. That didn't used to be cryptocurrencies. It used to just be Bitcoin, and they succeeded in shattering that into 1,001 different competing altcoins. And now we're seeing like a wedge being driven within BTC again with these people. I think it would be a bit naive to think that the CIA or other government agencies hadn't infiltrated these forum leadership positions. Like everybody knows exactly who I am. Here's my real face. My real name is Roger Ver. I spent time in federal prison. I'm not hiding who I am one bit. Yet so many of these Bitcoin Core supporters that are engaging in the censorship and have the moderator positions, who the heck's famous? Who the heck's Cobra Bitcoin? Who's BTC Drac? Who are these people? Why do they need to hide their names, right? Like,
They could just be sock puppets for Adam Back, for all we know.
I don't think that they are, because
I'm joking.
Occasionally we hear like some of their voices out there, but like, why are these people hiding who they are and busy engaging in all sorts of censorship and like delaying the adoption of cryptocurrencies around the world? I don't think it's a crazy tinfoil hat conspiracy theory to think that some of these people are government agents intentionally disrupting the adoption of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies around the world. That's not crazy talk at all.
We know that with Tor, that's what the FBI did. They set up all these different nodes to infiltrate Tor, and it makes sense they do the same thing on a social level.
Yeah, they did that to the Occupy Wall Street thing.
Yeah.
They infiltrated that and disrupted it that way from the inside as well. So it'd be naive to think they weren't doing that. So I want to talk about this next one on our list here. So it's Ross Ulbricht shared a message to the judge that prosecuted him. And so apparently he passed the message along to somebody who was visiting in prison. And Ross Ulbricht has a Twitter account now. Now that his final appeal has been denied, he can talk a little bit more. And so his Twitter account is @RealRossU. And here's what he said on Twitter. And he said, "The judge who sentenced me to grow old and die in prison announced her retirement." And that really got me worked up right there. Just having read the first sentence, I was pretty pissed off, to be honest. But then Ross goes on and he says, "I don't hate you, Judge Forrest. I gave that up years ago. I hope you find happiness and peace in the next phase of your life." And I read that, and Ross has been in federal prison for like 5 years now. And I was really, really tempted to put out a tweet of my own saying, "You know what, Judge Forrest, I do hate you," and say a lot even worse things than that. Because I haven't given that up yet. I think the war on drugs is incredibly immoral. Locking up millions of people in prison for having plants or powders that make them feel happy is incredibly immoral and it needs to stop. And the police's, judges, and law enforcement officials that are doing that with stolen money in the form of taxation need to stop. And that's why I'm involved in Bitcoin and digital currencies, because I want to strip away the power of these psychopaths in society that want to shape society and think, "Oh my God, you have a plant that makes you feel happy, or you have a powder that makes you feel happy. I'm going to drink my wine that makes me feel happy, that used to be illegal. But we're going to lock the rest of you in cages if you use something that makes you feel happy." These people need to stop. And I see cryptocurrencies as a great way of helping put a stop to their sort of victimization of all these people all over society. And so I don't have the same level of forgiveness in my heart that Ross does for these people. But I didn't put it out on Twitter. I made a much nicer tweet of my own to my own followers on Twitter, and I said, "Hey, Donald Trump," and I tagged all of his family and everybody else that we could find related to it in my tweet. And I said, "Now's your chance to do the right thing and pardon this guy." So he's already served 5 years in prison, in a rough prison. So I've been to federal prison. I know how things work. He's in a way, way, way rougher place than where I was. And where I wasn't that great either. And so Ross is definitely in a much, much rougher place. And so I was in federal prison for 9 months and 1 month in Oakland halfway house. That was the longest 10 months of my life by far. And so Ross has already done more than 5 years. That's a long time already. So he's been punished more than enough for setting up an e-commerce website. So Donald Trump, I implore you, give this guy a pardon. He's been punished enough. And if anything, he should be celebrated for being an incredibly ingenious entrepreneur, building the first website of its kind ever. And this draconian sentence of life in prison, sentencing him to die in prison, has done absolutely nothing to stop the spread of darknet markets. There's more darknet markets on the internet doing more volume of illegal drug sales than ever before. So it didn't do, if anything, it publicized it even more. So
and made more people less trustful of the government and feel that they're the enemy. I mean, there was this sentiment years ago that having harsh punishments would deter these kind of things, and they don't. The drug wars prove that it doesn't work. People keep doing it. So this is a great chance for Donald Trump to show that he's not like Barack Obama, he's not like Hillary Clinton or any of those other presidents, and he can look at a situation and see that it's unjust, see that 2 life sentences for someone who did something non-violent.
He built an e-commerce website.
Yeah. And maybe it dealt with drugs, and people do jail for drugs, but not 2 life sentences when he wasn't even the drug dealer. So this is a chance to do something that sets you apart from other presidents, and who knows, if it gets to his attention, maybe he'll take that chance. We'll see.
Yeah. So Donald Trump, do the right thing. I think you get lots of people on both sides of the aisle, liberals and conservatives and everybody all around the world with any sort of moral compass we'll definitely appreciate you for giving Ross a pardon, because he certainly deserves it. And not just Ross, every single other nonviolent drug offender. Let him out right now, today. Writing down words on a piece of paper and calling it a law does not alter morality. People own their own bodies and own their own lives. They have the absolute right to put whatever they want in their own bodies, regardless of what the politicians think. So, man, do the right thing and let these people out of jail. And, I like I said, I was in federal prison. I was around a lot of these people that were there. Most of them were for, shipping marijuana around places. Now a drug that's basically is completely legal in Canada and legal in a bunch of states around the United States already. And it's a plant that makes people feel happy. Why do you want to lock people in cages for using a plant that makes them feel happy while you're drinking your wine or your beer at home, you hypocritical politicians? So let's move on to happier things, right? Millionaire Makers. Have you ever used that subreddit? I've never used that one either, but apparently it's some sort of lottery on Reddit.
Doesn't seem like a great way to become a multi-millionaire to me, but people like lotteries, and so this is one way to do it.
Yeah, so
Reddit tips.
Yep. So apparently it's some sort of subreddit where people. All right, we're back with part 2 because we ran into some technical difficulties earlier, but we're back. It's a couple hours later, still Friday, July 27th, and we were talking about Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin. Well, now it's Bitcoin Cash Millionaire Maker on Reddit, but none of us have used it very much, so we don't know too much about it. So do your own research on that. Which brings us to the next thing on our list, which is Andreas Antonopoulos, again, saying something that Rick Falkfing is the one who really deserves credit for pointing it out, but they have absolutely no idea how to do the routing on Lightning Network.
Is the idea that routing on Lightning Network is not a solved problem. And that's absolutely right. Routing is not a solved problem in Lightning Network. In fact, Lightning Network is still under heavy development and is in the very, very early stages of development. And most of the clients are still in the beta category. They're pre-production software. And even though you can run Lightning on mainnet, it's still not really suitable for production use. There are bugs to iron out.
That's kind of a problem related to what I've been saying for years, is that Bitcoin was working amazingly well. Don't break it. But instead they broke it in the intent of forcing everybody onto the Lightning Network, which is unproven technology that doesn't work yet. It has more than a 99% chance of failing for payments over $100. We went from something that worked amazingly to send any amount of money to anyone, anywhere in the world instantly, basically for free, to something with a 99% chance of failure if you try and send more than $100. Or, I'm sorry, I think it was $280 or something like that, but it's not all that much money.
Let's risk the whole project just so Blockstream can have a chance of making something that benefits them.
Sad. So it'd be nice if Andreas could see the logic in that, but it is what it is. So speaking of Andreases, there's another Andreas Brecken, that's been doing a lot of really interesting write-ups about the Lightning Network and his experience trying to run nodes there. He's posting it all on Medium, and I believe his website, I'm not a fan of domain names with vulgarity in them, but his domain name is shitcoin.com. I think he could have chosen a better domain name, but to be fair, the content that he puts on there is super interesting, and so he just published the third in his 3-part series. But again, I don't really see why everyone's so excited about Lightning Network, because all it's doing is making Bitcoin, the Lightning Network experience today is way worse than what Bitcoin usage experience was in 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, all the way up until 2016-ish when they made the blocks full. They're reinventing the wheel, but in this case, the reinvented wheel is a square and it hardly works. So, any thoughts on that, guys?
Yeah, to me, back in 2014, some of the most fun I had in Bitcoin was going to all these restaurants and bars in Roppongi Dori in Tokyo and getting them all to accept Bitcoin. And we'd go in and we'd tell them, look, we can bring a whole bunch of people for the Bitcoin meetup. And they'd all come, and the bartender would make a bunch of money, and they had a great experience. And then a year or two later, you couldn't do that because the fee at the time to buy your meal or pay for your beer was more, and so the adoption stopped.
And I just realized that I am a terrible, terrible host. So the first half of the video, you had myself and Daniel Kelman. Now we have Demetrius with us. So Demetrius, you are a local Cypriot here. Tell us about your involvement in digital currencies and how'd you wind up on the show here?
So thank you for having me on your show right now. what I want to say about Cyprus is that by November we're going to have 4,000 merchant shops supporting Bitcoin Cash payment because they understand that Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin, right? And these days, and because it's super fast, it's cheaper, and we don't have the problems that the first Bitcoin has. So yeah.
And those 4,000 merchants make up what percentage of the merchants in Cyprus?
70%.
So 70% of all the shops in Cyprus are going to be accepting Bitcoin Cash soon. Are they going to be accepting Bitcoin Core?
No, of course not.
Oh my God!
What's the point of it? Bitcoin Core it has no value anymore. I mean, the way it was in previous years.
Yeah, it's not useful for payments anymore.
No.
So, and Lightning Network's not even remotely ready for using in business applications. Not even close. So,
Exactly.
So here we are. So, which I don't. The next thing on our list, Rick Falkfing. Have you guys watched it? Dan, I'm sure Dan's watched some of his videos.
I've read more of him than watched the videos.
Okay.
But yeah.
Are you familiar with Rick
No,
Falkfing?
no.
So he's the founder of the Swedish Pirate Party, and he has fantastic content on YouTube every single week. It's really, really excellent. You should watch his videos. I've been in Bitcoin almost 8 years full time. I learn new things every single time I watch one of his videos. He's truly one of the greatest thinkers of our age. Watch his videos, read his writings. He is a fantastic, fantastic person, and he's done a great job of pointing out the whole issue with all of this. Bitcoin Core, BTC is Bitcoin in name only. It's not even remotely close to the Bitcoin described in the white paper anymore. So that's a whole other story. His video will be linked in the description. Go and watch it. For me, I feel bad on reporting, I guess it's kind of like my own news, but I did a video interview with Naomi Brockwell recently, or not that recently. It took her maybe 2 months to get it online, but she finally put it online, and I guess people enjoyed that. And so Corbin, who you guys may remember from previous videos, was nice enough to put together this list for us. That was on the list. And he included some questions from the audience from the last video that I did with a crypto. And the question is, how can BCH be used as a currency, or any coin for that matter, with the extreme volatility? I don't understand. And he's right. Like, the volatility is a really big hurdle to overcome for people to use it. But it has so many other fantastic characteristics, mainly that you can send it anywhere in the world instantly, basically for free, with no sign up required, no permission from a bank, no permission from a government, that people are willing to deal with the volatility because the other characteristics are so incredibly useful.
I totally agree with you, because I think as the year passes and more adoption comes forward, less speculation, so we can have some stability and increase in the price, but not that up and down fluctuations.
That's exactly right. So the increasing market cap helps tame down the volatility in terms of percentage terms. So,
And there's more and more volatility in traditional fiat currencies, right? The U.S. dollar is up and down, like I think 3% or 4% against the Taiwan dollar. I'm in Taiwan a lot, so I follow that pair. And I think we'll see more of that in fiat currencies, and perhaps less and less of it in cryptocurrencies.
Yep. And so another question from the last weekly roundup. And the last question was from Bernie Van Resberg. So thank you for that, Bernie. The next question says, promote the new upcoming Bitcoin Cash. Oh, so it's not a question, I guess. So I'm supposed to promote. We have a new Bitcoin Cash developer series hosted by our Bitcoin.com's very own Gabriel Cardona. So go to developer.bitcoin.com. We built an entire developer suite. So if you want to build awesome apps on top of Bitcoin Cash, we make it so easy for you at developer.bitcoin.com. And another question from Ian Green is, where are the developer details for tokens on the BCH chain? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening on that, and we're ready too. Are you guys excited for tokens to come to Bitcoin Cash? Yeah. So it's happening. There's a bunch of competing protocols being argued about on the internet. I'd be really, really shocked if we don't have something pretty usable before the end of this year. So it's coming fast and furious. So and that brings us to one of the last things on our list. Daniel, you were talking. Tell us more about your experience spending Bitcoin in Tokyo over the last few years.
Had a great time. That was where I first really, I bought Bitcoin at Mt. Gox and ended up in Tokyo after we all got goxed. And, up until then, I had been investing in Bitcoin, but living in Taiwan, there weren't a lot of places to spend it. But when I got to Tokyo, there were all types of places to spend it. And, one of the first places I spent Bitcoin, I think, was the Pink Cow and then Two Dogs Tavern. Yeah.
And so those were two of the very first merchants in Tokyo to start accepting Bitcoin, and pretty much all of them have switched to Bitcoin Cash now. Some of them don't even accept BTC anymore, and even the ones that do, they say almost everybody uses Bitcoin Cash to pay there. Almost none of them use BTC anymore. and the Two Dogs Tap Room, which is a great place with fantastic pizza and fantastic beer. They now have their very own Bitcoin Cash IPA beer that you can buy there in Bitcoin Cash. So if you're in Tokyo, go and visit the Two Dogs Tap Room in Roppongi. And within walking distance there's like a bunch of different places that accept Bitcoin Cash. You have the Pink Cow, you have Rakon, you have Awa Bar, you have probably a couple more in the area. There's a lot of stuff happening there. So go to Roppongi, visit all the stuff. Tell us more about your experience here in Cyprus, Dimitris.
I want to say thank you for coming to Cyprus, first of all. I didn't say thank you before, but I want to say that thanks to you, my mother that used to work in the banking sector, nowadays has a Bitcoin wallet from Bitcoin.com and her first Bitcoin Cash. Here is the picture. We want to show it to the people. My mom accepted Bitcoin Cash from her son. So yeah, I mean, we are spreading, it's like a virus, but a good virus of Bitcoin Cash. And I'm looking forward for the merchant shops to start accepting Bitcoin Cash in Cyprus so everyone can understand the real power.
Yeah, we set up a lot of people with Bitcoin Cash wallets in the last couple of days. It's been a fun couple of days.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that brings us to the end of the weekly news roundup. And I always finish it off by reminding you that our Bitcoin is completely censored. If you don't believe me, try posting this video there. It'll be deleted within seconds if it's even up there at all. So if you don't like censorship, Bitcoin Cash is the community for you, because the BTC community is busy censoring all sorts of discussion and talking about that sort of thing. So go and visit our BTC on Reddit if you support free speech. Visit forum.bitcoin.com. Visit basically anywhere that's isn't controlled by the BTC gang, because they don't support free speech. And visit bitcoin.com for all the latest news and try out our games. Right? Cashgames.bitcoin.com. You can pay poker, blackjack, roulette, keno, craps, dice, and a couple other that I'm forgetting. If you win, instant deposits, instant withdrawals on Bitcoin Cash, basically for free. If you win, fantastic, you can withdraw immediately. If you lose, that's okay. Well, you spend the money that we win as the house to keep promoting Bitcoin Cash. So give it a try, tell your friends, and we have a referral program too, so you can have an affiliate link. So anybody that you send to our website, you'll get a referral fee for that as well. So anything else we should add at the end of the video?
Buy more Bitcoin Cash and use it, guys.
Use it as cash.
Use it as cash.
Yeah, spend and replace. As you spend, if there's anything, how could I forget to plug Purse.io? If you're in the US, you can get a 20 or 25% discount on every single purchase from Amazon by using Bitcoin Cash on Purse.io. So that's it. 11 p.m. in Cyprus on Friday, July 27th. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned next week for the next video. See you then.